And Mike Papantonio on the line with us. I think with the biggest story of our day right now, at least here in the Western Hemisphere, is what's going on down in the Gulf of Mexico. He's an activist, attorney, a co-host of the Ring of Fire radio program with Robert Kennedy Jr. and David Bender, and also, perhaps most importantly, as an attorney, is leading a major legal challenge against these companies and is right on top of everything that's going on. ringoffireradio.com, their website. Hey, Mike, welcome
Tom,
to the program.
how are you?
Great to have you with us, Pap. Right-wing radio hosts all over the country. Gee, they found two birds now. These guys have been very effective using these very toxic chemicals at pushing this oil deep down into the water.
Yeah. Well, what you have is they've located several of what I call a thermocline drift. That's where the oil settles to different levels in the water column. It may be, I don't know if you're a scuba diver, but if you dive 80 feet, sometimes at 50 feet you'll start really getting a chill because it's a thermocline moving through at that depth. So the thermocline picks this oil up at different levels and moves it all over the place. Now, what we do know we know that right now the last one they identified was about 10 miles across, 4 miles from front to back, and it's moving in the direction of the Florida Keys. So I mean, look, we know the bonehead, the right-wing bonehead talking points. We've seen them. I've tried to stay ahead of them on the air. The talking point to me right now, though, is we're really getting a better look at the character of this company. I mean, when Obama forced BP to release that Deepwater video of the catastrophic oil gusher that they created, it became apparent from day one, this company has been lying to all of us. Right. I mean, the reason they had, and an interesting thing, Tom, I actually have documents that show this is one of the ways they approached the first few weeks of a catastrophe like this. Same thing they did in Texas, where they killed 15 people and injured 170.
Assert their Fourth Amendment rights as a corporation to cover up things, keep things secret.
Yeah, basically. But so what they do here is that when they start off day one, there's no problem, there's no leak. Day two, it's 25,000 gallons. Day three, it's 45,000. And the reason it was important that this video be released is because good scientists can extrapolate what's going on. I mean, you've got people who do that all the time. Yeah. And so now we know that we've got 4.2 million, as high as 4.2 million gallons a day. And the character of this company is to deny. And one way they do that is these right-wing talking radio heads, that really have never read a book, much less a newspaper article about the character of this company. But and you see the Lisa Murkowski's surface. Senator Murkowski, this highly paid sock puppet from Alaska. I mean, you name it: Exxon, Koch Industries, Constellation Energy. These people have paid this woman alone in excess of $300,000 to $400,000 worth of oil, gas, lapdog purchase money. I don't know what else to call it. It's to get her talking points focused on what they want to focus it on.
And to the detriment of the American people, I would add. This 60 Minutes did a show on this last night. Yeah. And they pointed out that this was actually the second attempt to drill a well in the same spot.
Correct.
The Russian press, Pravda last week, I saw a story that they've used, originally it asserted nuclear bombs, later conventional bombs, but they'd actually used explosives 5 times to cap wells to shut off these kinds of leaks. We've got these bunker buster bombs that were designed for Saddam and maybe Iran. Why not just close this thing up, or would that just blow out the profit potential for BP?
Well, that's part of it. And when you first started hearing the idea, well, let's just use a major bomb to close this thing up. Look, it goes beyond that. There's part of it that tells us that what you're saying, Tom, has been their state of mind. There's something that's called a deep hole valve that's below the surface of the sand at 5,000 feet. You then go below the sand, and the deep hole valve is something that if it's used and it goes off, then you lose the well, okay? Right. Now, the reason BP doesn't use it and other companies do is because if you use that valve, you can't use the well anymore. So they didn't have one on here. The same rationale we heard.
You mean if the well blows out, it just just basically shuts down the well.
Yeah, they have to re-drill, and it's all a cost. Look, we saw, we know what the problem is. We have witnesses coming to us daily with incredible stories. You know the story about BP making the decision to remove the mud from the column because they wanted to remove the mud before they put the cement plug in.
Because it would speed things up.
Yeah, it speeds things up by a matter of days. And
I have been wondering, Mike Papantonio, we're talking about Mike Papantonio, ringofireradio.com, and the guy who's actually taking these guys on. There was a party on that rig, either on the 19th or 20th of April, where they were flying in by helicopter, 6 executives from BP. Did they push the schedule up and cut these corners because the big wigs were coming?
Well, yeah, that's what our people are telling us. I mean, I get 10 calls a day from people who know all kinds of inside information. Yeah, they're whistleblowers. They don't want to come forward, but we don't need them to really come forward. They're telling us the backstory, and we're investigating the backstory. And what it does, Tom, is it allows me to take depositions based on their information. And when I have somebody telling me, look, that it was BP that, for example, made the decision to remove the mud, and they did that because they knew that they could save, the quick computation was something like $400,000 if they did it, and that guy gets paid a big bonus if he saves that $400,000. It was all about money. Look, when this story is told, it's going to be very apparent that BP treated our Gulf like we're part of a third world banana republic. There's no question. They don't regard us the same way we think they regard us.
But they shouldn't be treating third world banana republics this way, Mike.
Well, I agree.
It's all the same ecosystem all over the world.
I totally agree. But their attitude about us, and this is a remarkable thing that's developing in this story as I see it, is you hear these comments to where they literally regard us as a banana republic.
Like they figure they can just buy off our politicians.
Exactly. Buy off the Murkowski types, buy off the...
Mitch McConnell was on Meet the Press this weekend saying, $75 million cap, we can't do away with that. Then you won't have any small companies competing with BP.
And McConnell's saying that because BP told him they were going to pay for this. Let me tell you something. They did exactly the same thing in the Exxon spill. They did exactly the same thing in Texas. Calm the politicians down, get them on your side. And people, Tom, I hate to say this, but people simply aren't smart enough to look under that rotted log. They just aren't.
Well, they're not informed enough, certainly.
Yeah, well, in another month, this is going to be off the front page, and when it's gone from the front page is when you see BP do its really dirty work. And matter of fact, there's documents that say we have to wait basically till it moves to the second, third, and fourth page, and when that happens, then they can really do their most disgusting dirty work, which is mostly driven by politics.
Mike Papantonio, ringofireradio.com. Is this the best website for people who want to know what you're doing, what you're up to here, and how they can help?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think so.
Ringofireradio.com, the attorney, activist, co-host of the Ring of Fire Radio program with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and David Bender. Mike, are there others who are joining your cause, or are there other attorneys who are doing the same kind of thing?
Yeah. I think what you might remember, we put together the tobacco litigation team in the United States, and we're going to have an A-team like that handling this.
Good. Good on you. God bless you. That's absolutely great. Mike Papantonio, one of my heroes, and a great talk show host, as well as a brilliant attorney, one of the most brilliant attorneys in America. Ringofireradio.com. You can read all about it. Mike, thanks for dropping by.
Thank you, Tom. I appreciate it.
Great having you on the program.